Part 107. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1061. Xiaoming's way of controlling Chu Wen mentally is a bit beyond the scope, and there are almost no spells or barriers that can limit this control. Chu Wen is the NPC role played by Xiaoming's clone in the game. Due to this origin, Chu Wen is equivalent to an avatar that Xiaoming can use at any time. He can do many things. Going to a big store to purchase things is just the simplest. In fact, you can also trade goods on a large scale. However, Xiaoming did not do this because he did not want to bring trouble to this character. Chu Wen is just a scholar and a small clerk in Kaifeng Prefecture. How much money can he make? Occasionally buying some valuable things is fine, but if he buys too much, there will be problems. The Song Dynasty court may not be able to see that this is operated by the player, but it can definitely see that there is something wrong with Chu Wen. Even if there is no evidence, it is not too much to expel this suspect. Then Xiaoming will lose the big picture for the small. It is rare to have such a good identity, and Xiaoming does not want to ruin him. Making more money in the game does not make much difference to him. The current speed of making money is already too much to spend. So Chu Wen only did two things: one was to buy the blueprints of the third-level puppet, and the other was to borrow books from the library for the explorer to read. Reading books can improve the professional experience of the life profession scholar. Some specific books can also increase the professional experience of another life profession appraiser. It is true that everything is inferior except reading. There are many shops in Tokyo City, and the third-level puppet blueprints are almost everything. Chu Wen can't even buy them all. On the one hand, Chu Wen's status is not enough, and some blueprints are not allowed to be purchased by non-alchemists. On the other hand, it is too expensive, and the total will be an astronomical figure. It would be too ostentatious to buy them all. Xiaoming can only strive for excellence. He bought a few more practical third-level puppet blueprints. After studying them all, the researcher got a lot of experience as a cartographer, and promoted this life profession from an apprentice cartographer to a formal cartographer. The researcher's primary cartographing skills are finally no longer just for show. As an apprentice cartographer, the researcher cannot really make useful drawings, not even the drawings of the 0th order puppet. Originally, at this time, some civilian drawings of no grade should be made to increase life career experience. But because Xiaoming took a backdoor when choosing his profession. As a result, the researcher's cartography skills were restricted and he could only make puppet drawings. There are no such drawings that can be made in civilian goods. So this skill has never been used. Now it is a little better. After becoming a formal cartographer, the researcher is allowed to make 0th order puppet drawings. Finally, I can practice. Primary cartography is actually very interesting. You can't choose the purpose of the puppet, and the success rate is extremely low. It's just a matter of luck to spend money. And for the researcher who has already started using the third order puppet, the 0th order drawings are useless. Therefore, players who work as cartographers are generally aiming to develop in the field of map making. Puppet drawings are still the most convenient to buy from the system. Only when the player reaches the 5th level, the drawings of high-level puppets are very difficult to buy. It is considered great for an excellent alchemist to be able to make a 5th level puppet. It is almost a daydream to want to make a combination of troops. At this time, the power of the cartographer will be revealed. If you can't buy the blueprint, you can make it yourself. Of course, if you want to train the cartographer to the level of making 5th level puppet blueprints, the resources and energy consumed are not affordable for ordinary wealthy players. After all, before the 5th level, there is almost no income from making puppet blueprints. In this regard, the researcher has a great advantage because of his special life skill, primary research. This skill can provide the cartographer with professional experience and can directly push the level up. there is no need to really work hard to make blueprints. If other players know about it, it is estimated that they will be angry to death. The third level puppet blueprints purchased by Chu Wen are as follows: Great Swordsman Puppet, Scout Puppet, Crossbow Soldier Puppet, Gargoyle, Wolf Puppet, Wood Elf Puppet. The level 3 Great Swordsman and Scout are easy to understand. Crossbowmen are the advanced version of crossbowmen and are also normal troops. The last three are more interesting. Gargoyles are an alchemical creature, which can also be regarded as a kind of puppet. The biggest advantage is that this troop has wings and can fly. The importance of flying troops is needless to say. However, it is also amazing that puppets made of stone can fly. The Evil Wolf is a puppet developed based on Warcraft. Animal-shaped puppets have greater advantages on certain terrains. The Wood Elf is the most interesting. This is a level 3 archer of the elves, with good attack power, damage, range, and shooting speed. However, in human society, this kind of puppet is not used specifically for fighting, but has other uses. The beauty of the elves is unparalleled in the world, and many dignitaries of many races want to raise some elves. Naturally, they have to do something unspeakable. But the elves are a very powerful race, so bullying the elves is absolutely not allowed on the surface. Many countries have legislated to prohibit it. The Song dynasty is also among them. If you dare to do such a thing, you will definitely be pursued and retaliated by the elves. Of course, this cannot stop some people who are really powerful from doing such things secretly. Even the elves find it difficult to deal with these people. However, such people are a minority after all, and most people only dare to indulge in their own thoughts. So someone had an idea and developed the Wood Elf puppet. The shape curve of this puppet is vivid and lifelike. On the surface, it is a combat puppet. The elves can't say anything. In fact, many people use combat troops in other places, and the puppets will not resist. Of course, this is just scratching the surface. But there are always such a group of dude or people with abnormal brains among humans who like it. The elves also know about the diverse uses of the third level Wood Elf puppet, and they are definitely not happy, but they can't really stop it. They are all doing bad things secretly, and in fact no elf has been hurt. Why do you care so much? This use has no appeal to Xiao Ming. His own uniform series of mind beasts are n times better than the Wood Elf puppet. So Xiao Ming still values the combat effectiveness of the Wood Elves. At the same time, the researcher also successfully developed a third level 4 puppet canoe. The 4 puppets on the boat usually have a scout and a gargoyle. Archers can choose crossbowmen or Wood Elves. Gargoyles are made of stone and are heavy. A canoe can only carry 1 gargoyle at most. If there are more, the boat will sink and slow down. Therefore, researchers have developed a larger 8 golem canoe. If only 1 gargoyle is loaded in such a canoe, the speed will not be reduced. If you don't care about the speed, you can load 2 gargoyles. It is quite powerful. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1062. There is no doubt that these level 3 troops and canoes are all wildly sought after by the high-ranking elves in Tanshan City. Everyone is very excited. Quickly update the agreement between the two parties with the researcher. Buy the level 3 puppets produced by the researcher at the most sincere price. And the more the better. The first excitement point is the rank of the troops. Level 3 troops are one of the main combat troops in ordinary small cities. The value is not comparable to the cannon fodder of level 1 and 2. The second excitement point is the winged guy, the gargoyle. You know, flying troops are favored by all races. The elves themselves also have flying troops, which are level 4 Pegasus Elf Knights. Not only are they expensive, but they are also not strong enough to withstand beatings. Tanshan City is just a small city, and every Pegasus cavalry is a treasure. Losing a city lord can cry for 3 days. The appearance of the gargoyle can become a cover and cannon fodder for the Pegasus cavalry, greatly reducing their chances of death. How can the elves not be ecstatic? The third exciting point is the wood elf puppet. Apart from anything else, just looking at the image of the elf is very comfortable. When the enemy attacks, they will not be able to tell which are the puppets and which are the real elves. It can reduce the loss of the elf troops. The person who developed this blueprint has put a lot of effort in the image for personal purposes. In addition, the combat effectiveness of the level 3 canoe is already considerable. It is also more convenient to use when patrolling, and it will not be easily wiped out by the enemy, resulting in the failure of the message to be transmitted back. Of course, the level 3 puppet consumes more materials, has a longer production cycle, and has a higher failure rate and defective rate. If it is not done well at the beginning, it may even lose money. However, as long as the proficiency is improved, making level 3 puppets can really make a fortune. In view of the special situation of Tangent City, the elves are in great need of level 3 puppets, so the purchase conditions are very favorable. The current agreement can guarantee that even if the researcher is taken over by the intelligent program to make it, he can still make a small profit. If Xiaoming makes it himself, he can make a lot of money. This is equivalent to the elves taking over the initial losses that the researchers should have borne. They acted as a scapegoat. Such losses should perhaps be called initial investment. If you are a single player, you simply cannot afford it. Unless you are a rich second generation. A normal alchemist needs to continue making level 2 puppets for a while and save enough money before you can engage in the production of level 3 puppets. This is when the awesomeness of the player guild is reflected. With the power of the guild, it can also bear such initial investment. Of course, different guilds have different tendencies, and even large guilds cannot cultivate all life professions and combat professions. Cultivating alchemists who make puppets is just one option, and there are many other life professions worth cultivating. Even among alchemists, those who make traps and those who make medicines are much more popular than those who make puppets. I don't know how much water went into Xiaoming's brain when he chose his profession. He chose such a not very promising profession. In addition, when the deceased bought the blueprint in the Grey Bone City, he alarmed the city lord Bai Yulin. During this period, the informant, under the control of Xiao Wu'er, helped the city lord develop skeleton soldiers. His favorability has accumulated a lot. So Bai Yulin took the initiative to sell a special third-level puppet blueprint to the informant. They have such a good relationship, but he still has to spend money. Could it be that the city lord Bai is also a money grubber? Actually, it's not. It's rare to have the opportunity to buy this special blueprint at a high price. If you want it for free, you are really greedy. Third-level Bat Puppet Blueprint. This puppet troupe is said to be developed by the Vampire Clan. The attributes of the Bat Puppet are just that of a second-level soldier, but it can fly. And it carries toxins when attacking, which can reduce the defense of the enemy troops. The same troop can be reduced up to 3 times. To be honest, this troop is not bad, but it looks too ugly. The researcher showed it to the elves, but was rejected. He refused to accept it. The elves are not good in this respect, they are flashy and impractical. Just because the image is not good, they give up a good puppet. Alas, I am helpless. In addition, Xiaoming also controlled the diver and searched in the limestone town under the sea. Unfortunately, the limestone town has not yet developed, and the third-level puppet blueprint cannot be bought. In the process of frequently switching roles, Xiaoming used the 2 intermediate templates of telekinesis on his 2 characters. The diver and the informant both obtained the second profession full-time hunter. Currently, they are both level 1 apprentice hunters. The upper limit of telekinesis is 100. These are all as expected. The key is what the telekinesis of the 2 intermediate templates is. As the first time telekinesis appears in the main game, the system must be made decent anyway. Wouldn't it be embarrassing for the Hunter secret realm if those inferior abilities came out? Xiaoming guessed that the template's ability would be good. But he never expected that the system actually gave two protagonists telekinesis templates. The diver gets Gon's scissors, paper, the informant gets Killua's thunder fist. There are three modes of scissors, paper, and paper. Scissors is a blade of the transformation system, rock is an iron fist of the strengthening system, paper is a telekinesis of the release system. This straightforward ability really fits Gon's personality. For Xiaoming, the difficulty of practicing is not high. Killua can convert telekinesis into electricity, which needs to be charged regularly. There are various magical applications in the later stage. However, the intermediate template only has the simple first application, Thunder Fist. Transform telekinesis into electric current and concentrate it on the palm, then strike the enemy with a palm strike. Use this move under the intermediate template. The destructive power is not strong, not enough to stun the enemy, but it can restrain the enemy's actions for about a few seconds and increase the chance of attack. Such an ability is a bit difficult, and Xiaoming does not have time to do more research for the time being. I can only leave it for later. After all, it is the protagonist's ability, which is actually quite practical. Xiaoja's guessing game, Xiaoja will definitely be amazing when he uses it after mastering it. And Xiaoja is a telekinetic user with full 6 series. The power of each move of scissors, rock, and cloth is above B-level attack power. Unlike Xiaoja, who focuses on strengthening the rock, the power of scissors and cloth is relatively weak. Xiaoja's scissors is a telekinetic sword, and cloth can also be a telekinetic cannon. It goes well with two-handed machine gun. If Xiaoming were to develop this ability, the cloth would probably be a telekinetic shield. You can't just attack without defense. Of course, this is just a random thought. Xiaoming has a mental shield, so he doesn't need a telekinetic shield. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1063. This whole process of switching characters and looking for shops to buy things is really time-consuming. After buying the puppet blueprint, learning it is actually very time-consuming. Before, the time spent on learning the first and second level blueprints was basically negligible. But the third level blueprint is not that simple. In addition, because Xiaoming needs to do it himself, he needs to observe, comprehend, and understand carefully before using it. This is even more time-consuming. There is a saying that sharpening the knife does not delay the chopping of wood. The deeper Xiaoming's understanding of the puppet, the higher the yield rate when he makes it himself. Moreover, it will be easier to move the puppet into reality. In this way, the main game time on September 6th is about to end. Yin Xiaoming is too lazy to continue the game, so he simply quits the main game in advance. Come out of the game cabin to breathe the fresh air of Pangustar. Draw an aperture with his left hand, open the portal, and come to the machinery processing factory in the suburbs in person. In fact, there is already a permanent 7 stars shadow clone of Xiaoming, and several ordinary shadow clone. Their job is mainly to treat and care for the parents of employees. In most cases, ordinary shadow clone can handle it, and sometimes 7 stars shadow clone needs to take action. 7 stars shadow clone can now use the mind ability like life-saving golden needle. However, there are some difficult and complicated diseases that even life-saving golden needle cannot solve, such as organ failure. This requires Xiaoming to use his body to stimulate the birth of new organs, and at the same time use secret technique Earth Grudge to perform surgery. In the past, this kind of difficult operation could only be done by Insect King Green Xiaoming. Other Xiaomings could not do it. Later, because Xiaoming absorbed the body of the Super Skrull in the Marvel Universe, he developed the copycat ability. Xiaoming can not only copy himself into other people, but also copy his several bodies. This kind of operation can be done by 4 Xiaomings. Of course, there will not be too many opportunities for this kind of operation. After all, this is a factory, not a hospital. It was just that in the beginning, a large number of people were recruited, and many operations were performed. Now, there may not be a case in a month or so. At noon today, a case happened to come. Of course, it is not particularly urgent. You can go anytime in the next few days. Xiaoming just went there by the way. 2 days ago, a newcomer came to the mechanical processing factory. He is also a veteran. His name is Dong Fuquan. His old mother has passed away, and his old father Dong Qingshan has been paralyzed in the lower body for many years. The family is overwhelmed. His wife was really helpless and remarried with her 4-year-old son a few years ago. Dong Fuquan did not blame his wife. Life was indeed difficult. If Dong Qingshan was just paralyzed, he would not have to work so hard. The elderly also have some old people's diseases. Every 5, 7, or 6 days, his son needs to take leave to take care of him. As a result, Dong Fuquan found it difficult to find a good job. Look, he lost his job again a few months ago and lived off his savings. He heard about the recruitment of veterans here and came here specially. He didn't know that he could still treat diseases here. He just wanted to get a stable job. To be honest, if the UMBU organization contacted him at this time, he would definitely go. After Zhu Xingxiu learned about the situation, he took him to the 7 Stars Shadow clone, checked that he had no mental problems and was not a spy, and accepted him. They were arranged to live in the factory, and today, Dong Fuquan brought his father over. Xiaoming saw this situation through the 7 Stars Shadow clone. He felt that it was really pitiful for Dong Qingshan, an old man, to be unable to move, and he was moved with compassion. Xiaoming came here specially this time just to help this old man. However, the treatment of paralysis is a bit beyond the understanding of ordinary people. It must be kept secret. Xiaoming invited the father and son of the Dong family to the chairman's office. Borrowing the ability of the ghost messenger, he observed carefully again. There is no problem, the father and son are both ordinary good people. So Xiaoming summoned the uniform lawyer beast and signed an agreement with the father and son. Xiaoming will cure Dong Fuquan's father's paralysis, and the father and son will join the game studio to work, and keep this matter absolutely confidential. This kind of thing must be guaranteed by an agreement. This is a telekinetic agreement, and they can't say it even if they want to. The treatment process is very simple. Replace part of the old man's nerves, and then inject life essence into his atrophied lower body for nourishment. But in just 3 hours, Dong's father was already alive and kicking. Dong Fuquan was so excited that he knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Xiaoming, breaking his forehead. Although Dong Fuquan looks like a middle-aged man and Yin Xiaoming is just a young man. But Dong Fuquan is only in his 40s, and Xiaoming is nearly 70 years old, a little older than his father. He can actually bear 2 heads. But Xiaoming didn't like this, so he quickly pulled him up and had to stop the bleeding on his forehead. As a result, while he pulled up his son, Dong Qingshan knelt down again and almost kowtowed again. After being paralyzed for many years, he was suddenly able to walk, and Xiaoming could understand his gratitude. But this head really couldn't bear it. Xiaoming quickly helped this person up again. It took a long time to finish the job. I have 2 more loyal confidants. In the past, Xiaoming treated mostly internal organs. It was not particularly noticeable if he was cured. Healing Dong Qingshan, who had been paralyzed for many years, really attracted a lot of attention. It would be easy to arouse suspicion if he went out. It was the most appropriate to invite them to play games. By the way, Xiaoming taught the dragon elephant Prajna Kung Fu to Zhu Xingxiu and other more loyal people. Let's try the effect first. Just relying on explanation and learning, they may have to practice for several months before they can get started. Xiaoming didn't want to delay it for so long, so he instilled a little internal force into a few people and guided them to practice. How far they can practice in the future depends on their own diligence and understanding. Then, Xiaoming went to Xiaoxi village again. This village was originally a gang of thieves, but now it has turned over a new leaf. Hong Cheng, who quit the Umbu organization, lives well in this village. Even a few girls are beginning to be interested in him. After such a long time, the Umbu organization has not sent anyone here again. Xiaoming is very strange. It is estimated that it may be hindered by something. In fact, it is true, and the matter that hindered the Umbu organization was also caused by Xiaoming. Before, Xiaoming rescued many people from the private world of Beyond the Aquila Rift. Most of them are lost reincarnations, such American Samoa 13146. There are also several scientists known as Warriors of the Dawn. These people collectively lost part of their memories and reappeared, alarming the high-level forces of the Chinese countries. Especially the return of those scientists. The high-level forces of the new Han Kingdom were shocked. The Umbu organization was also shocked. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1064. The new Han Kingdom could not publicize the fact that the warriors who pioneered the dawn returned to Pangu Star after 200 years. After all, the fact that the new Han Kingdom has been marching into the universe for hundreds of years cannot be said. It would be bad if everyone knew about it. Even most of the reincarnations below the intermediate level did not know about this. Unless the technology flow among the reincarnations may have the opportunity to discover it. Otherwise, the reincarnations of the supernatural school may not be able to detect such things. Therefore, the return of the warriors did not cause any reaction among the people. Ordinary people could not get in touch with it at all. However, in the high-level circles, this matter definitely caused a big shock. Naturally, it affected the criminal organizations such as the Umbu. At this time, all forces are very sensitive. They are all investigating what happened to this matter. Therefore, the Umbu organization is now staying honestly, secretly inquiring about the news, but dare not take any action on the surface. As for the disappearance of the Black Tiger Subaru Duck team, it is naturally not a big deal, and the Umbu organization decided to postpone it. Because from the surface, this matter really has nothing to do with Xiaoming. So no one from the League of Legends, Zhang Shizu's lineage, or the Li family has come to talk to Xiaoming about this matter. The Shen family has been excluded from the circle, and they really don't know. Xiaoming is also happy to play dumb. In fact, Xiaoming was a little worried before. If they asked, should he tell it or not? If he didn't tell it, everyone is a good friend, and it's a bit bad to lie about such a thing. If he told it, it would be difficult to hide Xiao Zhu's affairs. He is already a ghost messenger, and ordinary people will not harm him, so it doesn't matter. But Xiao Zhu is just a master in the private world, not a reincarnation. She will be very dangerous. I don't know how many people will covet her ability. Xiaoming doesn't want to harm her. On one side is face, and on the other side is life. Xiaoming knows the weight clearly, so he'd better not tell it if he can. In a few days, it will be the Mid-Autumn Festival. Seeing that the moonlight tonight is not bad. Xiaoming was in a good mood, but he didn't teleport home directly. He chose a direction at random, walked leisurely, and looked at the scenery. It was so late, and it was such a remote place, and there were not many people on the road. Xiaoming walked until the late night, and teleported home when he lost interest. What ruined his interest? It was not a big deal. Do you remember the Magic Dragon AOTN studio? Brother Wen was in Tokyo, and he didn't delay the studio's work. Especially now, those who wanted to influence Jiang Xiaoming through Jiang Wen no longer bothered him. Brother Wen had more time to play games. 2 days ago, Xiaoming gave him the game cabin of Wuxia Planet, and he has been playing at night for the past 2 days. As a zombie above level C, it is not a problem for him to go without sleep for 10 days or half a month. Tonight, Zhang Yuyan, Peng Si and others contacted him and asked Jiang Wen to get a batch of gold coins, which they are all short of now. Jiang Wen himself didn't have much, so he called Xiaoming in the middle of the night. After receiving this call, Xiaoming was no longer interested in strolling. After returning home, I transferred 1 million gold coins to Brother Wen and asked him to allocate them. In terms of financial resources, even the big guilds may not have as much spare money as Xiaoming. Jiang Wen was very fair, and each of the 5 bosses received 200,000 gold coins. He told them to just pay the money to Jiang Xiaoming. As for the employees, Jiang Xiaoming certainly didn't need to pay. Lu Zhishan could ask his uncle Li Zhenfan for it. After a while, the other 4 bosses each paid 2 million to Xiaoming. Now as the Magic Planet game expands, there are more and more players. The price of gold coins is actually higher than before, and has risen to 1 gold coin for 33 Chinese yuan. 200,000 gold coins is 6.6 million. Several bosses didn't want to buy so many gold coins. But since Jiang Wen got it, they wouldn't return it. Isn't it better to have more gold coins? It's just that they don't have that much change on hand, so they will pay 2 million first, and then they will circulate it, and they will definitely make up for it later. Since everyone is so familiar with each other, they won't be so shabby about such things. Besides, they can make a lot of money by reselling these gold coins. They can definitely make money. Xiaoming didn't care about these things, and went directly into the secret realm of Hunter x Hunter to continue developing his mind ability. There was no conversation overnight. On the morning of September 7th, Xiaoming logged into the researcher and started the space jump. Maybe because of the good things he did yesterday, the first jump today seemed to be to a place that looked pretty good. This is a large tropical rainforest, and several macaws flew over together. Xiaoming guessed that this is probably Central and South America. I really don't know which forces are in this part of America. Xiaoming didn't even know whether it was a strategic map or an adventure map. He released his mental power to detect it, and soon found that this was a strategic map. Because there was a player with an elf army in front of him who was repairing. Not far from him, there was a small group of wild monsters guarding a treasure chest. This player probably wants to kill this group of wild monsters and grab the treasure chest. Xiaoming looked at the troops equipped by this Xiu Shao Tianxia. More than 200 level 1 centaurs, more than 100 level 1 infantry, 30 level 2 crossbowmen, 80 level 2 dwarves, and 30 level 3 wood elves. This is the normal force of the players on the strategic map at this stage. The team of wild monsters to be fought has hundreds of level 1-2 orcs. The exact number will be known after the fight. The opponent has no ranged troops, so as long as he is not particularly unlucky, the chances of winning are still very high. Xiaoming has no interest in this battle, nor in a treasure chest. He continues to explore along the road with his mental power. Going a little further east, you can see a thief's house. Players can buy intelligence about various forces in the map at the thief's house. Very good. The researcher flashed and instantly came to the vicinity of the thief's house. The thief's house is built in a relatively hidden way. With the help of trees and jungles, it looks like an abandoned house. If you don't pay attention, it is really not easy to find. Indeed, many players have missed functional buildings such as the thief's house because of their lack of eyesight. The researcher came forward and knocked on the door in the image of the half-orc Saeed. Saeed's adventure profession happens to be a thief of level 13 at level 1. It is not surprising to find such a place. Of course, if people observe carefully, they will find that Saeed, the thief, is very weak. He is a complete fake. The operator here is a human thief NPC. He has no aversion to orcs. Anyway, everyone is a thief, so no one should look down on anyone else. This profession itself has no honor. Xiaoming successfully bought the information and lit up most of the unknown areas in this map. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1065. Unfortunately, even if the map is lit up, Xiaoming can't figure out where this is. But we have plenty of time, Xiaoming is not in a hurry. Just take it slowly. The Thieves' House will issue some small tasks to players. Both heroes and generals can accept them. Xiaoming has seen them all, and the highest level is just a blue task. I am not interested. However, these tasks are a good exercise for the intelligent program Xiao Sainer, so he gave Xiao Sainer the control of the researcher. Xiaoming himself did not leave, and planned to accompany Xiao Sainer for a while. Xiao Sainer controlled the researcher to do the task, while Xiaoming controlled a bunch of shadow clones to make third-level puppets. This week, we have to deliver to Tanshan City, so we have to hurry up to make it. Let's put aside the matter of Yin Xiaoming for now. Let's talk about today. Huang Xiaoming finally triggered a new plot in The Legend of the Condor Heroes. Before, Xiaoming played Nanziren, and Hong Qigong and Mu Nianzi went to the Iron Palm Gang. They stole back the Wu Mu's testament. On the way, he asked his disciple Mu Nianzi to copy a copy. After returning to the beggar gang, he gave the copy to Yang Taixin. Mu Nianzi also copied a copy of the book that recorded some of Yu Fei's works and gave it to Bao Ziruo. Please ask Bao Ziruo to copy a few more copies and give them to different people for safekeeping in the future to prevent them from being lost in the future. The two originals are still in the hands of Nanziren. Xiaoming certainly plans to leave them to Jing-er. After that, the three of them went out to travel again and continued to practice the Changsheng Ju and the 18 dragon subduing palms. Today, Nanziren was practicing palm techniques. Hong Qigong suddenly left for some reason and brought two people back after a while. One of them saw Nanziren from a distance, ran to Nanziren, knelt on the ground, and kowtowed several times. He called him the fourth master. Xiaoming looked carefully and saw who else could it be if it wasn't Guozheng. Nanziren left the desert 2 years ago. Guozheng really hadn't seen the fourth master for a long time and missed him very much. Seeing him now, he knocked his head several times, no matter how hard the soil and rocks on the ground were. Fortunately, this kid now has deep internal strength and a hard forehead, so it won't be broken. Seeing Guozheng at this time, Xiaoming was also stunned, and hurriedly helped Jing-er up. Looking into the distance, I saw Hong Qigong and a beautiful, elf-like girl walking over together. I think it must be Huang Rong. Xiaoming understood it immediately. Hong Qigong obviously has a keen sense of smell and found the two people by following the scent. Knowing that it was Guozheng, he brought them back to see him. Has Guozheng met Huang Rong? The plot has developed to this point, so fast. Everyone introduced each other first, and Nanziren first let Guozheng and Mu Nianzi, the senior and junior brothers and sisters, recognize each other. After that, Guozheng pulled Huang Rong over to greet the fourth master Nanziren and his junior sister. Huang Rong was actually meeting someone from the 7 freaks of Jiangnan for the first time, and she was a little shy about meeting the other party's parents. Xiaoming has heard of her for a long time. It is not an exaggeration to say that she is the most famous heroine in Jin De Da's book. I saw it today, and it is indeed worthy of its reputation. No, it should be said that the ability of the game system is really powerful. It can achieve this level. This Huang Rong has lived up to her reputation. She is truly a combination of the world's spirits. Xiaoming does not have the bad temper of the Jiangnan 7 freaks in the original book. To be honest, the Jiangnan 7 freaks in the original book hate Huang Rong, mostly because they hate the whole family. especially the eldest brother Ke Zhenyi and the third brother Han Baoju. The hatred between the Jiangnan Seven Freaks and the Black Wind Twins is as deep as the sea. The Black Wind Twins are Huang Yaoxi's apprentices, and Huang Rong is Huang Yaoxi's daughter. Then Huang Rong is the apprentice sister of the Black Wind Twins, and it is not surprising that Ke Zhenyi and Han Baoju are angry with her. Others did not stop it too much. The second brother Zhu Kong was just worried that Huang Yaoxi was moody, and it was too dangerous for his own apprentice to be with his daughter. Nan Ziren had no ill will towards Huang Rong. Now Xiao Ming is even more kind. Although in many books, the protagonist will use Guo Jing's method to woo Huang Rong when he travels to the world of the legend of the Condor heroes, but Xiao Ming has no intention of snatching his apprentice's wife. Kindness in the heart is naturally reflected on the face. Huang Rong's heart immediately warmed up when she saw Nan Ziren's caring eyes like a father and brother. She thought to herself, Brother Jing said that the fourth master treats people the best. Today, I see that it is true. There is a sense of closeness in her heart. Guo Jing was very excited and stammered to tell Nan Ziren about what happened in the past 2 years. Nan Ziren went to Chongyang Palace with Yin's hyping that year. The plot of what happened later developed as usual. It's just that Ma Yu no longer needs to come to the desert. One day, a group of black eagles and a white eagle couple were fighting in the sky. Temujin ordered his generals to shoot the black eagle. Guo Jing really shot 2 birds with 1 arrow and received the golden knife rewarded by Temujin. Later, he saw that the 2 little eagles were in danger, so he went up to rescue them. He gave them to Hua Zheng to feed. Later, Guo Jing participated in the great battle between Sankan, Jamaka, and Temujin. He rode the Ferghana horse that he had surrendered before, broke into the army of thousands of horses, captured Dushi, and made great contributions. At that time, Wanyan Hongli was also in Jamaka's army. In fact, half of this matter was instigated by him. At this time, Wanyan Hongli had not yet been surrendered by Nan Ziren. Sankan and Jamaka did not get along with Temujin, but they dared to raise troops and kill people, and they also relied on the power of the great Jin kingdom. Wanyan Hongli originally wanted to send the 4 apprentices of Ghost Gate Dragon King Shatongtian to fight Guo Jing. But Guo Jing is no longer the same as before, and his strong skills are obvious to all. Wanyan Hongli and Temujin, as well as Mongolian generals and soldiers, did not know advanced martial arts and did not quite understand it. But how could Shen Qinggang, the soul-breaking knife, Wu Qingli, the life-chasing spear, Ma Qingxiang, the soul-snatching whip, and Qian Qingjian, the death axe, not understand it? Looking at Guo Jing's skills, he was not inferior to his master, the Dragon King of Ghost Gate. How dare the 4 ghosts of the Yellow River come forward? After whispering a few words to Wanyan Hongli, the people of the great Jin kingdom fled immediately. Later, when Nan Ziren went to Zhao Wangfu, the 4 of them were doing business outside and did not meet Xiao Ming. In this battle, only Guo Jing made a big splash. The 7 freaks of Jiangnan were now very confident in their apprentices' martial arts and did not come at all. This was agreed by Nan Ziren and Zhu Kong. Unless they had to, the 7 freaks of Jiangnan tried not to show their martial arts in front of the Mongols. If they attracted Temujin's attention, it would be troublesome. Soon after, Temujin sent troops to pacify the Wanghan, Sankan, and Jamaka tribes and unified the Mongolian tribes. He was nominated as Genghis Khan. At the celebration banquet, Temujin gave Hua Zheng to Guo Jing and named him the Golden Sword Prince Consort. Guo Jing's skills are much better than in the original novel, but his mind has not become smarter. At that time, he didn't react at all, which was regarded as tacit agreement. After returning, he told his mother and masters about this matter. No one said much. Because Guo Jing's mother Li Ping and the 7 freaks of Jiangnan had already discussed it. When Guo Jing came of age, everyone would leave Mongolia under the pretext of a martial arts competition. A so-called Golden Sword Prince Consort is meaningless. It was just because Guojing was too straightforward that he was not told about this matter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1066. The Jiangnan 7 monsters and Li Ping had already begun secret preparations. Just wait for Guojing to grow up. Guojing is 18 years old this year, and his internal strength has already been fully developed. The internal strength of the Jiangnan 7 monsters and Guojing have reached the top level among the Quanzhen 7 sons. It's just that at this level, the advancement of internal strength begins to slow down. Those who were slightly worse gradually caught up. Although Li Ping has no qualifications, the 7 monsters often help her circulate the vitality of the secret of immortality in her body. After all these years, my internal strength has become quite good. It is comparable to the level of the 7 strangers of Jiangnan. Li Ping had suffered so much with Guojing before, and secretly regretted that she had not learned some martial arts from her husband for self-defense. Otherwise Duan Tian would not be able to hold her hostage. If one learns from one's mistakes, one may gain wisdom, and there may not be any disasters in the future. After all, everyone wants to escape from Mongolia. With martial arts skills, the chance of success is higher. Your own life and death is a trivial matter, and it would be bad if you drag your son down. Maternal love occupied Li Ping's entire body and mind. After she achieved some internal strength, she began to work hard to learn martial arts. It's just that he is too old and his achievements are still not high. Not as good as Zhang Ning-er. Zhang Ning-er, the daughter of Zhang Ashan and Han Xiaoying, is a character who does not appear in the original work. Although he is only 12 years old, his internal strength is already very deep. It's just that her body hasn't grown up yet and her strength is smaller. Now I mainly practice hidden weapons and swordsmanship. To make up for the lack of physical strength. Kei Zhenyi, Zhu Kong, and others have made all preparations, and everyone is divided into 2 groups. The first group left openly, and the second group left secretly. The whole process went very smoothly. Everyone is not greedy for money and tries to leave as lightly as possible. The family's furniture, tents, vehicles, horses, and hundreds of cattle and sheep were all left behind. Only 18 sheepdogs were taken. Originally we didn't have so many dogs. Because later Guojing's shepherd dog defeated Sankan's leopard and became famous. Many Mongolian princes, nobles, and generals came to buy it. Finally, they knew that Li Ping, Guojing, mother and son had made great contributions and were valued by Temujin, so they were too embarrassed to snatch them away. But it definitely won't work if you don't sell a few. Simply, the 7 freaks of Jiangnan started a business of training shepherd dogs. Breed puppies and sell them to these Mongols. As long as the puppy is raised with the vitality of the immortality secret for half a year, the puppy will be very powerful when it grows up. It is enough to satisfy those who want to buy it. By the way, the 7 monsters of Jiangnan can also practice the use of qi. Of course, many puppies died because of this. After all, not everyone has Nancy Ren's ability to control qi. This is quite consistent with the understanding of those Mongolian big shots. If it weren't for such a mortality rate, I'm afraid we wouldn't be able to breed such good shepherd dogs. The Jiangnan 7 monsters' own dog pack is getting bigger and bigger, and they can't take them all away this time. It would attract too much attention. In the end, I only took away 18 items. Because the itinerary was very comprehensive and meticulous, and the Mongolians really didn't guard against the 7 Jiangnan monsters, everyone escaped without anyone chasing them. It's a pity that Hua Zheng was feeding the 2 white eagles, so they couldn't take them away this time. However, when Bai Diao was a child, he was also nourished by the 7 devils using the true temperature of the secret of immortality. After leaving Mongolia, Everyone gathered together and entered the kingdom of Jin. On the way, I met Wang Kei's subordinates from Beichuashan and several of his concubines. Although at this time, Wanyan Hongli was already controlled by Nan Ziran. Naturally, he did not dare to invite Wang Kei again. What does it mean to invite a master of this level over? Do you want to plot against Nancy Ren secretly? Wanyan Hongli has the heart, but does not have the courage. Wang Kei's entry into the Central Plains was entirely a systematic arrangement. With the plot reaching this point, how could he not come? He joined Prince Zhao's mansion just for fun. This time, he came to stand in front of his uncle Wang Feng to explore the martial arts situation in the Central Plains. Like the original work, the seven monsters thought it was necessary to investigate, so they arranged for Guo Jing to go to Jiaxing alone, with the intention of training him. The rest of the people were divided into two groups. Kei Zhenyi, Zhu Kong, and Quan Jinfa went to find out the origins of this group of people from the western regions. Han Baozhu, Zhang Ashan, Han Xiaoying, Li Ping and Zhang Ning returned to Niojiakan first. According to the opinions of the seven monsters, even if they settle in the Song dynasty, they should find a better place to live in seclusion. Going back to live in Niojia village, you have to deal with the officials of the Song dynasty, which is not interesting. Li Ping obviously agreed. She just wanted to go back to her hometown this time. Next, Guo Jing met Huang Rong and fell in love with each other. But this time there was no conflict with Prince Zhao's mansion. After all, Mu Nianzi and Yang Taixin no longer competed for marriage, Yang Kong went into hiding, and the heroes of Prince Zhao's palace restrained their talents and focused on doing great things. The two sides have no intersection at all. Even if they met, Sha Tongtian and others would be scared to their knees when they heard that this was the disciple of the seven Jiangnan monsters. The system did not force them together. Guo Jing actually met with Wang Chuyi, Ma Yu and Qiu Chuji. The bet was about to take place and Qiu Chuji had to come. For the sake of Nancy Ren, the others had to come to support him. It's just that seven people don't have to be together all the time. Each of us can find something to do, and then we can all gather together. Guo and Huang were able to meet these three people because of the system's care. Although there is no master-disciple relationship between Ma Yu and Guo Jing in this life, Guo Jing's honest, responsible, chivalrous, and upright character impressed the three Quanzhen sons. Ma Yu and others also noticed that Guo Jing's internal strength was not inferior to the three of them, and he seemed to be from the Taoist lineage, so they felt closer to him. In fact, 2 years ago, when Nan Ziran visited Chongyang Palace, several people felt the similarities between the internal power of Quanzhen sect and the internal power of Changshengju. It was just that Nan Ziran's internal power was still low at that time. The seven disciples didn't care too much. There are more Taoist skills than Quanzhen. Unexpectedly, 2 years later, the internal power of Nan Ziran's apprentice was so high. Is it reasonable? Although Qiu Chuji didn't say it, he knew that his apprentice Yang Kong was far inferior to this nephew Guo Jing. This was true in both martial arts and character. The old friend Guo Xiaotian must have rested in peace in the underworld to have such a son. Qiu Chuji was happy for his old friend, and at the same time he lamented that when he and the Jiangnan seven freaks chose people, he clearly made the wrong choice. It's a pity that none of the Jiangnan seven freaks were here at this time, otherwise Qiu Chuji would have admitted defeat directly. He couldn't admit defeat to a junior at this moment. Besides, it wasn't Guo Jing who made a bet with him. In this life, Qiu Chuji didn't meet Yang Taixin and Mu Nianzi, so he naturally couldn't remember the marriage arranged by the Guo and Yang families. Huang Rong is smart and cute. Anyone who sees her will like her unless they have preconceived ideas. The same is true for the three Quanzhen disciples. When they met for the first time, they were very harmonious. After they separated, Guo Jing and Huang Rong went out to play together. No, they went to the rivers and lakes together. They did some chivalrous things. They went all the way south and came to the Song dynasty. The main plot of the Zhao Palace did not happen before, and they met Hong Kigong earlier than in the original book. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1067. Pour the subordinates sent by the Xin family to the secret realm of the Legend of the Condor Heroes. The main plot of the Legend of the Condor Heroes is galloping forward, and there have been great changes. The Xin family's manpower can't catch up at all. They can't even figure out what happened. Several people didn't dare to neglect it and reported the matter to the head of the Xin family, Xin Ku. Xin Ku can roughly judge that it must be a player with high-level permissions who is advancing the main plot of the Legend of the Condor Heroes. From the speed of advancement, it can be known that the other party is extraordinary and must be a master. The main target of the Xin family is the secret realm of the Legend of the Condor Heroes. What the story of the Legend of the Condor Heroes becomes actually has little impact on the Xin family. Xin Ku doesn't want to provoke such a master. Even if he clears the Legend of the Condor Heroes, what can he do? As long as he doesn't come to Tianlong to make trouble. If this person can be invited to help conquer the secret realm of the Legend of the Condor Heroes, the Xin family will welcome it more. Xin Ku also wants to release some goodwill through his subordinates. However, since they couldn't even find the players who were specifically advancing the plot, the Shen family could only ignore it. Today, Guo Jing and Huang Rong cooked beggar's chicken and ate it. Their location was not far from where Hong Kigong, Nan Ziren, and Mu Nianzi practiced. The fragrance drifted over with the breeze in the forest. Mu Nianzi was focused on practicing and didn't pay attention. Xiaoming's own energy-enhanced food was actually more delicious, so he didn't take it seriously. Only Hong Kigong was attracted. He saw Guo and Huang eating beggar's chicken. People who practice the Changsheng Ju Genkai will have a sense of each other. Hong Kigong and Guo Jing both felt it. Guo Jing was confused and didn't think there was anything wrong. Hong Kigong only looked at the age of the young man and immediately concluded that he must be the Guo Jing that elder Nan Ziren often mentioned. After eating most of the beggar's chicken, gang leader Hong revealed his identity and brought the two to see Nan Ziren. After listening to Guo Jing's story, Nan Ziren also told Jing'er about what happened during this period. First, they joined forces with Quanzhen sect in Chongyang Palace to spread the Mongolian military training method to the generals of the Song dynasty. Qiu Chuji and others were the parties involved in this matter, so they naturally knew everything. However, they saw that Guo Jing was young and there was an unknown wronger next to him. So they deliberately concealed it and did not mention it. Xiaoming certainly knew Huang Rong's background, and most things did not need to be concealed. Huang Rong was young and had no family and country feelings, but Guo Jing was amazed. And the more exciting things are yet to come. Nan Ziren talked about how he alone conquered the entire Zhao Wangfu and Wanyan Hongli, and launched the Gold Ingot plan. And joined the beggar gang as one of the four elders. Yang Taixin's family reunited, began to train soldiers to fight against the Jin, and finally obtained the Wu Mu's testament and so on. Guo Jing and Huang Rong were a little confused. Why did they feel like they were listening to a story? Such a journey is too legendary. Huang Rong immediately discovered the key point. Master 4, the princess of Zhao is Madame Yang. Uncle Yang goes around the world under the pseudonym Mu Yi to perform, and has adopted his adopted daughter's sister Mu, and the Wu Mu testament is in the Iron Palm gang. How did you know these things? Hong Kigong actually had this doubt, but Kigong didn't want to pry into other people's privacy. Huang Rong didn't care about this, and asked the question immediately after discovering it. Nan Ziren didn't want to lie to her, but it was impossible to tell the truth, so she smiled and said, "Some things involve others, so Master 4 is not convenient to say. Wronger is extremely smart, so you can guess the answer slowly." Then came the classic plot of teaching martial arts. The difference is that in the original work, Huang Rong used countless delicacies to let Hong Kigong teach Guo Jing 15 of the 18 dragon subduing palms. She also learned some tricks such as Xiao. In this life, Nan Ziren and Hong Kigong made a deal. The 18 dragon subduing palms were exchanged for the longevity secret. Some people may ask, didn't Nan Ziren already learn the 18 dragon subduing palms? Hong Kigong also learned the secret of immortality, so why exchange? The meaning of this exchange is different. Before, they learned each other's unique skills, which could be used by themselves, but not passed on to others. Now after the exchange, Nan Ziren can pass the 18 dragon subduing palms to his disciples, that is, Guojing and Mu Nianzi. And Hong Kigong can also pass on the secret of immortality in the beggars section, or if he has a son, he can also leave it to the Hong family. In Hong Kigong's view, he has taken advantage. The secret of immortality is more valuable than the 18 dragon subduing palms. After all, it is a superior internal skill. Although the 18 dragon subduing palms is the treasure of the beggars sect, it is not the dog beating stick method. Hong Kigong often passes on a few moves to the beggars sect disciples who have made great contributions. Now take the 18 dragon subduing palms and exchange it for the secret of immortality internal skill for the beggars section. It can ensure that the beggars sect will not decline for hundreds of years. The reason why Shaolin Temple can be so prosperous in the martial arts world for so long is because of the 72 unique skills and Yi Jinjiang. Our beggars sect finally has internal skills that can compete with Yi Jinjiang. Xiaoming actually doesn't care about these. Even if Hong Kigong disagrees, Xiaoming will only not pass on the 18 dragon subduing palms in the Legend of the Condor Hero's secret realm. He will not limit himself in other secret realms. Although Nan Ziren is a high martial artist, he is not good at teaching. Hong Kigong and Guojing are naturally compatible, so Xiaoming simply gave the teaching work back to Hong Kigong. He passed on the Changshengju internal skill to Huang Rong. As the daughter of the East Evil Huang Yaoshi, Xiao Huang Rong doesn't care about martial arts. But she likes the Changshengju internal skill very much. Because she had heard Guojing say that the skill can be practiced with brother Zheng. Such a good thing, she couldn't ask for more. At the same time, Huang Rong also took on the responsibility of cooking, and the 3 members of the beggars sect were blessed with delicious food. The plot of Huang Xiaoming has entered the state of cultivation. Let's turn our attention back to Yin Xiaoming. On September 7, Xiaoming watched the researcher complete several ordinary tasks under the control of Xiao Sainer, and he felt very satisfied. He also made a lot of puppets. So he decided to go to the diver to play for a while. The diver built the sea city Manila on the strategic map. The city automatically appeared the unique Temple of Light of the Diver series. They believe in the god of the sea and the god of light at the same time. However, this temple is managed by the system and is not controlled by the diver. Xiaoming plans to let the diver trace back Anthony Rice's sea map, starting from Southeast Asia, through the Indian Ocean, Africa, and go to Europe. In the strategic map, there is a fundamental difference between the sea map and the land map. There are often checkpoints on land blocking the road. It is difficult for the player hero to travel far. You must fight all the way out. But it is different on the sea. There are not many real checkpoints in the vast sea. In principle, players can go to any seaside city. If divers go to cities built by other players, they will start a war. However, as long as there is no hostility between the two sides, cities in the system will generally allow players to dock, replenish supplies, recruit sailors, and trade goods. Players can gallop in the vast sea. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1068. Strategic Map. On the Sea of Southeast Asia, Xiaoming discovered a useful use of the Sand Ninja puppet. They can pick up things on behalf of players. There are a lot of resources to pick up on the sea that has not been developed by players. Theoretically, every week, some scattered resources, treasure chests, wild monsters, tasks, etc. will be added on the sea and land. On land, there are always players picking up. It can't be accumulated. As the scale of players grows, there are more and more heroes picking up resources. The chance of picking up good things is less. And not only players, but also some free NPCs have the ability and freedom to pick up resources and fight wild monsters. For example, protagonist NPCs like Li Huamei and Sarutobi Suzuki, as well as NPCs belonging to players like Han Dong, and some newcomers cultivated by various NPC forces. They will not leave all the benefits to players, and these NPCs will also compete with players in the future. But it's different on the sea. Even though the server has been open for 3 months, players have just begun to be able to sail along the coastline, but they can't sail on the ocean. So there are still many resources on the sea, waiting for someone to come. Especially on the undeveloped routes. The diver departed from Manila and headed for Jiating in the southeast of the Indochina Peninsula. On Pangustar, this place was named New Jiating. This area is the territory of the New Song Kingdom. A long time ago, Xiaoming was very curious. Song Kingdom was just a small country in the spring and autumn period and the Warring States period. How could it occupy such a large territory in Southeast Asia? In other words, why did the Chinese country, which occupied such a vast territory, use Song as its country name? Later, I came into contact with Far Island's strange people and found out the reason. The New Song Kingdom does not correspond to the small country in the spring and autumn period and the Warring States period, but to the northern and southern Song dynasties. Although the two Song dynasties were bullied by the grassland peoples, they were still quite brilliant civilizations. It is not surprising to pay tribute to them. Zhao Ang, Zhao Yongnian, and others that Xiaoming met in the world of Guardians of the Galaxy are members of the royal family of the New Song Kingdom. Back to the diver, since Manila is a newly built city. The route from Manila to Jiating is of course a brand new route. Therefore, the resources and wealth accumulated on this route over the years are considerable. Although Xiaoming can pick up these resources by sending shadow clones. However, there is one advantage of sending sand ninja puppets, which is super chakra saving. Only a thin chakra line is needed to connect, and you can run far away to pick up things. It consumes many times less chakra than sending shadow clones. Of course, with Xiaoming's current financial resources, these resources and gold coins are just icing on the cake. However, no matter how small the mosquito legs are, they are still meat. What's more, Xiaoming just gave out 1 million gold coins, and now the money for each character to purchase goods is actually a little tight. Xiaoming is more enthusiastic about picking up things. The divers are two fleets sailing together, and the first guard of the Temple of the Divers is sneaking under the sea. The sailors are a mixture of sea people and undead sea people. Above the sea, there are 4 medium-sized warships led by Old Shoelace, and his subordinates are all undead. Hundreds of them are equipped with muzzle-loading matchlock guns. These matchlock guns were made by Xiao Seer when he was free while operating the diver. But the guns he made could not be equipped to the army. There were no musketeers in the army. After Xiaoming logged into the diver, he used the source energy to upgrade these matchlock guns to general equipment. They were distributed to the undead sailors in the Old Shoelace fleet. The diver's troops really couldn't use muskets underwater. Before, in Manila City, Xiao Seer had accumulated a lot of shrimp soldiers and crab generals, but Xiaoming didn't bring any of them. They didn't match his own troops, and it was better to keep them to guard Manila. The diver also recruited a sea hero in the Manila tavern, Du Leishan, a first-level 0 fishman. Unfortunately, he was just a blank hero. Xiaoming thought that he was probably the first player to build a sea city on the sea, so there should be some benefits. For example, rewarding a blue hero or something. In the end, he was given a blank hero. There is no way, there are too few sea heroes, and they must be recruited. The area around Manila is actually a large archipelago, and there are also several island maps. Xiaoming once scanned it, and it was about level 3-5 maps. Resources, wild monsters, and everything are very rich. But there is no powerful NPC city in the map. At most, there are some arms nests. This place was originally prepared for players to expand their territory and colonize Southeast Asia in the future. Therefore, there is no powerful system force. If Xiaoming does not go to Europe, he can have a good future if he develops steadily here. But Xiaoming thinks it is necessary to travel around the world first. Of course, it is difficult to develop Manila. The subordinates of the diver are mainly sea people. When they go to land, their combat effectiveness will be greatly reduced. When Xiao Seer was operating the diver, he was always fighting monsters in the nearby sea and did not dare to go to the land. Although there is no power of any race here, the wild monsters are not weak. It is more dangerous to fight on the shore. So he has never touched anything on land. Xiaoming will go to fight in person, of course there is no problem. It's just that he doesn't want to waste time. Anyway, these monsters and resources won't be lost if they are left here, and they will even increase slowly over time. It won't be too late to come back and deal with them later. To Xiaoming's surprise, Xiaoming picked up the most undead sailors on this new route from Manila to Jiardan. There is no strong government in this area. As a result, pirates are rampant and fighting is relatively frequent. Many sailors have died at sea over the years. Over time, some of them became undead. Most of them are skeleton soldiers and ghosts. They float on the sea all year round. Similar to wild monsters. If people of other races come, these undead may choose to start a war. However, they are still very friendly when they meet the diver. Although the diver is a sea hero, most of his subordinates are undead, and they have the racial talent of primary undead sea clan. They can get a certain degree of recognition. When the diver's tentacles, that is, those 0-1 level sand ninja puppets, touched them, they all chose to join. The 0-1 level sand ninja puppets are made of wood and are very light. They will not sink underwater. And the puppets controlled by Xiaoming can also use chakra. Naruto walked on the water or climbed a tree, these were basic operations. Very simple. Just from Manila to Jiardan, the diver obtained more than 401-2 level undead sailors. All added to the fleet of old shoelace. Directly became an undead pirate. Halfway through the journey, the underwater sea fleet led by the diver personally encountered a group of shark monsters. It seemed that they had bad intentions towards the fleet of old shoelace. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1069. This is a wild monster army composed of more than 100 sharks, most of which are level 2 sharks. There are a few level 1 cubs and level 3 elites. They used to cruise around here, waiting to eat the sailors in distress. Not long ago, the leader of this team of wild monsters was promoted from level 3 to level 4, and changed his job to a saw shark. The magic world is so unreasonable that even a level upgrade can change the species. As a shark with a saw on the front of its head, this leader learned the skill of sawing through the bottom of the ship, so it began to actively attack passing ships. It launched attacks secretly from below the water surface, and sailors often had to wait until the ship began to sink before they could really find it. However, it was too late. The ship was leaking badly, and the sharks had already rushed in for close combat. Relying on this advantage, this team of shark wild monsters could eat as much as they wanted every meal, and each shark became very strong. As the group became stronger, more sharks joined in, and the group began to expand like a snowball. If they hadn't encountered the divers, it would be hard to imagine what they would become in the future. The sharks were attracted by the 4 medium-sized ships led by Old Shoelace on the surface of the water. They didn't realize that the ships were carrying undead. If they knew, they probably wouldn't have the intention to attack. There was no meat to eat after a bunch of skeletons and ghosts fell into the water. The bones of skeletons are not the bones of ordinary creatures. They are infected with the breath of death and most creatures can't eat them. The same is true for sharks. It's just that this group of sharks has been arrogant for a long time. They used to win every battle, so they were too lazy to investigate. They just came up and wanted to fight directly. Unexpectedly, before they hit the fleet on the surface of the water, they were attacked from the belly from the bottom of the sea. First, the divers launched a ninjutsu attack from the bottom of the sea. Xiao Ming didn't know that the shark boss was going to slowly saw the bottom of the ship open. He thought they were going to rely on collective collision to overturn the surface ship, so Xiao Ming hurriedly launched a very strong ninjutsu. Water style, 1,000 sharks, instantly summon 1,000 sharks to attack the enemy. The sea suddenly became a chaotic battle of sharks, biting each other madly. This ninjutsu has an attack power of B level or even A level, but because the power is dispersed among 1,000 sharks, each shark is actually only about level 2. It is comparable to the level of this team of wild monsters, but the number is several times that of the opponent. With this ninjutsu alone, Xiao Ming can actually wipe out this group of sharks. Hundreds of sharks, biting each other on the water surface. In an instant, the sea was dyed red with blood. If it weren't for this battle mode, Xiao Ming would doubt whether the sharks could really tell who was the enemy fish and who was their own fish. But since the war has already started, it's no fun to let the sea soldiers under his command just sit there and watch the fun. So the diver waved his hand, and more than 200 octopus slingers threw more than 1,600 stones in their hands at the enemy at the same time. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. This was a regular battle, with concentrated attack damage, and more than half of the sharks were cleared in one round. Many of them had been injured by the 1,000-eating shark and were in a state of residual health. That's why the casualties were so heavy. Then, in less than 3 minutes, the remaining enemy sharks were completely wiped out. The battle was over. The end time was actually longer, because the sharks summoned by the 1,000-eating shark were all real sharks. Now there are so many corpses in the sea, of course they have to eat their fill before leaving. Even though the sea water was dyed red by the blood of the sharks, the undead sailors on the old shoelace ship still didn't take it seriously. They didn't know that a battle had just taken place under the water. This is the characteristic of the undead, they are relatively numb. Several generals headed by the old shoelace learned the information through the spiritual connection with the diver. But there was no reaction. Xiao Ming said a little depressed. The diver gained some strategic experience, but it was not enough to be promoted to the strategic level. Instead, he got a very interesting thing: shark seedling. Shark fry is not a pet, nor a type of soldier, but a special product. It can only be used in a relatively prosperous coastal city. After use, the city can raise sharks and produce some special products. Anyway, this is how the system is introduced. Xiao Ming didn't quite understand it. He will know when he tries it in a city in the future. Along the way, the two fleets cooperated to eliminate several waves of small monsters and upgraded to level 1, but they exhausted their mobility, so the fleet had to stop on the sea. Xiao Ming then realized that the strategic level of the diver was only level 1, level 6. The original upper limit of mobility was only 320 points, which was not enough to get here. After all, every battle, every time you pick up something, and every time you pull out an undead sailor from the sea, you have to consume mobility. Xiao Ming is a character who accepts everything, even if it is a few hundred gold coins or a few units of wood, you have to pick it up. He doesn't look like he has a rich fortune at all. The reason why he can persist so far is entirely because the diver has a level 9 primary naval admiral skin. After fighting so many battles, it has been upgraded to level 9. Skin attributes: Naval Strategic Attack add 9, Naval Strategic Defense add 9, Sea Action add 90%, Command add 900. Among them, the 90% action bonus is almost doubled. Therefore, the diver can do so many things at once. But even so, the action is used up. I have to wait for it to recover slowly. The current strategic attributes of the diver are, Attack 2, Defense 3, Strength 3, Knowledge 7. Don't look at the diver's high knowledge. He doesn't even know a single strategic magic now. Manila is a new city built from wasteland after all. It is not qualified to build a magic tower. Even so, Xiaoming still piled all the free attribute points obtained from the upgrade on knowledge. The attribute of strategic knowledge determines how much strategic mana the player character has, and also determines how many times the player can use strategic magic. There is no strategic magic now, but it does not mean there will be no strategic magic in the future. Just stack up the knowledge attribute first. The diver's personal command power has risen to 540 points, plus the Admiral skin, it is 1440 points. There are not so many soldiers under his command. It can't even fill the fraction. As mentioned before, when the diver is upgraded to level 1, the racial talent is improved. Probably because the diver completed the high-end task of building Manila. The 3-choice option given by the system is good, and Xiao Seer upgraded the blacksmith talent to the intermediate level. Divers now have 3 basic professional talents. At level 5 of 0, they learned basic navigation. This was chosen by the diver himself. The 2 later ones were chosen by the intelligent program Xiao Seer. At level 10 of 0, they chose basic archery. At level 5 of 1, they chose basic reconnaissance. Archery is a good talent that can increase the damage of the ranged soldiers under the hero. It can also be effective for musketeers. However, it is Old Shoelace and his team that are leading the musketeers now, not the diver himself, so it has no effect. The ones affected are the octopus slingers in the diver's army. Old Shoelace and his team's strategic talents are much stronger than the diver's. It's just that they lack the bonus of the Admiral skin. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1070. 2 fleets were parked at sea, one of which was parked under the sea. This had a very bad effect, that is, the divers could not go to the adventure map to do things. Normally, when the player reaches the point where he can go to sea, he can already build a simple transmission device on the ship. It does not delay the player from running back and forth between the adventure map and the strategic map. But Xiaoming's game progress was too fast. As a result, there was no such device on the diver's ship, and he could only pass the time by practicing skills. Of course, practicing skill proficiency must be done by the intelligent program. Xiaoming switched to the Explorer himself. It was found that Xiao was operating the Explorer and was concentrating on reading in the inn. These books were borrowed by Chu Wen from the Song Dynasty Library. The books in the Tokyo Bianliang Library are very effective in increasing scholar experience. If a player wants to get to the point where he can borrow books, he must be at least level 4. Compared with these books, the books that players borrowed from teachers in private schools in other cities are much less effective. It is a rare opportunity to increase the experience of life profession scholars. Xiaoming will certainly not destroy it, but will only carry it forward. It just so happens that Chu Wen can borrow 3 books at a time, and it's too slow to read alone. Xiaoming summoned 3 7-star shadow clones to replace the Explorer in reading in the inn. He took Fan Rui out to visit Dongjing City again. Such a big city has countless opportunities waiting for players, but Xiaoming mainly wants to find out if there are other characters controlled by clones. Maybe it's because he went to the wrong place, Xiaoming has not been able to find it. However, there are many ancient monuments in Dongjing City, and there are also many antiques that are old. It's suitable for practicing archaeology. Of course, the explorer has been in the city for more than a month. Among them, those famous and easier to access, Xiao has already used archaeology on them. Xiao Ming walked the streets this time and went to some remote places on purpose. The focus is still to stimulate some tasks. Practicing archaeology is just a side job. Not surprisingly, during this period, the explorer encountered a lot of time-consuming and laborious small tasks such as finding cats and catching dogs. Originally, Xiao Ming was most willing to do such fragmented tasks. Sending a shadow clone can do it, and the experience is good. But now in Tokyo, due to the special identity of the explorer, some places cannot be entered, so this kind of task is really not suitable. The task will not take care of the special situation of the player. If a step of the task is stuck in a place where the explorer cannot enter, it will be completely over. After a while, Xiao Ming finally encountered a decent task at noon on the next day, September 8th. It is also a task for the explorer to be promoted to the third-level adventure profession. The branch of the ascetic monks mainly develops in the northwest of the Song dynasty. Although they have a certain voice in the central court, the strength of the ascetic monks in Tokyo Bianliang is not strong. They only have a very small primary temple of light, which is completely owned by the ascetic monks. The location is very remote and very difficult to find. Before, the explorers under the control of Xiao did things regularly and purposefully, so they never encountered it. These 2 days, Xiao Ming was operating the explorer to walk around randomly, and he encountered it by chance. This is actually a good thing for the explorers. In theory, the ascetic monks' power in Bianliang is not strong enough, so they should set up their own small office at the headquarters of the professional union. Just like some merchants who can't afford to open independent stores and rent a counter in a large shopping mall. Anyway, they can work normally, and most military professions do this. If the ascetic monk does the same, it will be a big trouble. The professional union in Tokyo City, the explorer, a Liangshan bandit, cannot enter. But if it is the ascetic monk's own territory, the explorer will have no problem entering. Although on the surface, the ascetic monk is an official organization and Liangshan is a rebel, the two sides should be irreconcilable. But in fact, the relationship between Shuabo Liangshan and the ascetic monk is quite good. Both are forces that speak for the poor. The truth about the explorer going to Liangshan is that Liangshan spent a lot of money to buy it from the ascetic monk. It is equivalent to talent export. Therefore, the explorer and the ascetic monk's power still maintain a good relationship, and there is no problem entering the ascetic monk's own temple. The land of Tokyo is very expensive, and the ascetic monks themselves are not a very wealthy force, so this temple can only be opened in a relatively remote place. However, the mountain is not high, but it is famous if there are immortals, the water is not deep, but it is magical if there are dragons. After all, this is the temple of the capital, and the person who presides over all affairs here is a 5th-level ascetic monk high priest. And he has something to do with the explorer. His name is Huo Yingxiang. His strength is much stronger than Huo Yingying and Huo Yingda, whom the explorer knew before. That's right, this guy is also from the Huo family, but he should not belong to the system of the Huo Chamber of Commerce. As one of the top masters of the Huo family Ying generation, and at the same time a middle and high-level cadre of the ascetic monks, he has certainly heard of the existence of the explorer. He knows that the explorer has made 2 great contributions to the ascetic monks. First, the universal weapon crossbow made by the explorer has opened up a very bright future for low-level ascetic monks. Over the past few months, many 0-1 level ascetics have been trained into standard long-range ascetic soldiers, crossbow ascetics, due to their long-term use of common weapons. After that, they no longer need to use universal weapons, because the standard equipment of the monks, the rattan stick, can be directly transformed into a strong crossbow. The replaced universal strong crossbows are naturally given to newcomers for training. This matter is so important that even if the explorers go to Liangshan, they still have to deliver universal strong crossbows to the monks' top leaders every week. Before, Xiaoming did not log in to the main game character for a month. This matter was not delayed. Because Xiaoming has sufficient source energy, he will make some universal strong crossbows and put them in the warehouse when he has nothing to do. According to the previous agreement with the monks' top leaders, the goods Xiaoming has in stock are enough to support another month or two. It is true that people who do not think about the future will have immediate worries. If this preparation had not been made at the beginning, the agreement with the monks would have been delayed, and there would still be some losses. The loss of money is not important, the important thing is that the monks' top leaders will lower their evaluation of the explorers. If the favorability is reduced, especially the favorability of Master Guo Jinsong, it will be a big loss. Therefore, Xiaoming is still preparing for a rainy day. When you have time, make a few general crossbows and store them. Not only the strong crossbow, but also other puppets and so on. As for the second great contribution made by the explorer for the ascetic monk, it is the army biological controller. However, this thing is difficult to crack and is still in the stage of development and research. It has not yet seen any actual effect.